So in my watching of the CBS this morning and CBS at 6 a.m. on the local side, there's a reoccurring pattern this morning. It is so blaring. At the 6 a.m. hour for Channel 2, they talk about this monkeypox, which is a developing story. In the 6 a.m. hour, they mention it 3 times. One has graphic textbook photos. The next has like a rat photo. And in between the development of this monkeypox, whatever that they're speaking of, at virility, at reservoir agent, into a vector, they're also speaking of New Jersey bird flu, Mammoth County, which is M-O-N and then M-O-U-T-H at count for the tree. So that's going on in one section. Next section, they go by CBS Mornings, and it's E100 is their tag, I suppose, or their numerics, or their metrics. They talk about this monkeypox in threes as well. New York City, possible case. They speak about it as rodents. I have the aerospace dimensional tags as well. But within that subset or that substrate, they have insertion of this shingles commercial, which is a dynamic that happens there. The humans are explaining to large publication about the original licensed chicken pox, which now has a license as shingles, and it just can come out of nowhere. Let's think of this. Then they have this interesting commercial that I've never seen before. Today was the first day, where they have a data auction, and this girl like opens this door and sees this data auction happening. And then all of a sudden, like, the auctioneer and the audience start to disappear because there's an apple that all of a sudden now, instead of a stem, has this like locking arm that's like clamping down, and then the audience starts disappearing. So I thought that was really interesting. They also show within this substrate a very interesting timing mechanic as well, as far as aerospace goes. At 21.21, they have a SIM, S-I-M, and then it's a PAR, P-A-R, and then it's a TRI, T-R-I, but then it's got a 0, but the O has a different symbolic gesture into it. It's referencing a dog. It's also referencing chewables. It's also referencing the bark park and play something. So that's interesting that that's thrown into this mix of this pattern that has a very clear, distinct characteristic and feel to it. I'm going to start with the Channel 2. Actually, I'm going to start with the E100 CBS Mornings. The first dimension is 00.30.36. and it's where it mentions New York City's possible case. Actually, I'm going to start on this Simpara Trio at the Trio Bark and Play Park is what it says. This right here has its own substrate of language I was looking at earlier, but there's one set of symbols, there's the other. Here's the info, and then this is the actual commercial.
Go with Simparica Trio. It's triple protection made simple. Simparica Trio is the first and only monthly chewable that covers heartworm disease, ticks and fleas, round and hookworms. Dogs get triple protection in just one Simparica Trio. This drug class has been associated with neurologic adverse reactions, including seizure.
Neurological adverse reactions, including seizures. I should mention this, by the way, is what was blocking me in the last year of high school. Again, I'm Rh negative. I need special kit glove handling. And yet, this shows up and tells me or blocks my ability to get to where I need to be in contacts and networks. And then this arrives in the 20th century.
Seizures. Use with caution in dogs with a history of these disorders. Protect him with all your heart. Simparica Trio.
Alright, and here we are. They end on something I'm not necessarily bringing in, which is not he, but whatever's doing this for money-making purposes at COVID.
Are fully vaccinated. All right, if COVID news has you exhausted, I regret to inform you about monkeypox. A case has been confirmed in Massachusetts. Now New York City is also investigating a potential case as well. Monkeypox, very rare, typically seen only in remote parts of Central and West Africa, but recent cases have popped up in Europe too. While it can be deadly and the symptoms certainly aren't fun, most people do recover. And finally, a Boeing Starliner.
Alright, so that was at around 00.30.36, the monkeypox. This shingles commercial, which one of the things mentions that monkeypox is almost like a variant or a whatever, something similar to a chickenpox, which is frightening. It says 4707 at the bottom.
Like pulsing electric shocks, sharp stabbing pains, or an intense burning sensation. What is this nightmare? Is how some people describe shingles, a painful blistering rash that can interrupt your life for weeks. Forget social events and weekend getaways. If you've had chickenpox, the virus that causes shingles is already inside of you. If you're 50 years or older, ask your doctor or pharmacist about shingles.
Alright, so here it is, Friday.
It might be mostly sunny now, but there is a chance for thunderstorms later this afternoon, and then wait to hear about the heat this weekend. I'm Mary.
And at 56, it's 00.56.35, there's another thing on monkeypox.
Calvi and John Elliott will have your first alert forecast coming up. First, New York City health officials confirmed they are monitoring a possible case of monkeypox. It's a virus that originates in wild animals like rodents and in rare cases spreads to people. The patient is now being kept in isolation at Bellevue Hospital while doctors try to determine if they actually have monkeypox. The first funeral today.
Alright, and then the last monkeypox is at 01.25.28.
8:25 on this Friday, May 20th. We are on a red alert for this weekend as a taste of summer comes to the tri-state area. I'm Natalie Dunridge. John Elliott will have your first alert forecast coming up. But first, New York City health officials confirmed they are monitoring a possible case of monkeypox. It's a virus that originates in wild animals like rodents and in rare cases spreads to people. The patient is now being kept in isolation at Bellevue Hospital while doctors try to determine if they actually have monkeypox. Happening today, Mayor.
Now, at 00.52.28 is this Ellie's data auction that went on. This is the last section of the E100 CBS this morning, mixed with the local thing I have going on. This is the last mention that they had this morning.
The next sale is a digital treasure trove charming Ellie's private data. Block number one, her emails. The ones she's opened and read, drugstore purchases. Her recent transactions. Oh, I hear 600, 620, 640, 660, 680.
From prom dresses.
If only the criminals disappeared that quickly after all of this torturous maze that's gone on in corny and pun business.
It's the only mattress good.
Possible case of monkeypox in New York City. What we are learning about a patient at a Manhattan hospital. Also, is relief finally on the way for parents when more baby formula could hit store shelf?
That was at the regular Channel 26 AM. It's 0.00.03. That was the first monkeypox mention. Then at 0.01.55 is the developing story with graphic textbook photos. Okay, this is the developing story this morning.
Story this morning, the health department.
This was the one at 6 a.m.
Health Department confirms it is now investigating a possible case of monkeypox in New York City. It follows a confirmed case this week in Massachusetts. CBS 2's Elijah Westbrook is live at Bellevue Hospital in Kips Bay with more on this patient. The health officials are watching closely, Elijah.
That's right. Good morning, Mary and Natalie. I can tell you that this patient is currently at Bellevue Hospital in isolation right now. We're hearing that additional tests are being taken to see if, in fact, this is a positive case of monkeypox.
Health officials say the disease starts with flu-like symptoms, including swelling of the lymph nodes, and causes a rash that can look like chickenpox. It's a virus that originates in wild animals like rodents and in rare cases spreads to people.
This is not going to spread and get into the general population and cause an epidemic like coronavirus has.
It may be the
Now that's London's School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine speaking.
first time hearing about monkeypox for many because experts say it's rare in the U.S. and is normally found in Africa. The Centers for Disease Control says it's currently monitoring cases around the world in places like Britain, Portugal, and Spain. Person-to-person transmission isn't common, but in England, scientists see evidence it's spreading through the community with cases that involve sexual contact. Health officials say a man in Massachusetts is recovering and is listed in good condition after testing positive for monkeypox following a trip to Canada.
Most of the cases have been reported really out of West Africa or Central Africa. The cases that have been outside of that area have been reported to be related to travel or to animals.
Doctors say most patients recover in just a few weeks, but the disease is fatal for up to 1 in 10 people, according to the World Health Organization. And while the CDC says it's preparing for other potential cases, there's no reason to panic.
We don't want people to worry at this point. Again, these numbers are still small. We want them to be aware of these symptoms, and if they have any concerns, to reach out to their doctor.
Monkeypox comes from the same family of viruses as smallpox, for which a vaccine was given to most people when they were children.
And back here live, as far as that patient.
Here they say smallpox. On another whatever that they were speaking of, they said smallpox, chickenpox.
Is concerned that we were mentioning earlier that's being looked at here at Bellevue Hospital. We're hearing that additional tests are being conducted right now, and it's closely being looked at by the CDC. We're live this morning here in Kips Bay. Elijah Westbrook, CBS 2 News.
All right, thanks, Elijah. The first victim funeral today.
All right. Now, at 00.18.43, same broadcast, the 6 a.m. Channel 2 local came out with a New Jersey bird flu, and they related it to Monmouth County.
48, New Jersey has its first case of the highly contagious bird flu. The U.S. Department of Agriculture confirmed the case in a backyard flock in Monmouth County. Signs of infection in birds include decreased appetite and egg production. Experts say the virus spreads through contact with bodily secretions. The CDC says this case does not pose an immediate public health concern.
Now, I don't know how to be more clear. At my level of community college education, with a Princeton textbook system that they allowed, they were using the words reservoir, agent, then there's some form of mode of transportation being a vector. I use the word vector, but I know it could be aerosol, it could be airborne, whatever. In the local news, they don't even go at community college educated in common area. They just use the lowest denomination for speech, which I understand, and others understand to a point, but this is the grateful part of what I was able to pursue in this very strange occurrence. All right, the last mention of monkeypox this morning at 6 a.m. for Channel 2 was 00.28.06, and this one had that monkeypox with like the rat photo.
Here's what you need to know before you go. New York City health officials confirmed they are monitoring a possible case of monkeypox. The patient is now being kept in isolation at Bellevue Hospital while doctors try to determine if they actually have monkeypox. The first funeral today for one of the...
It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And today is May 20th, 2022.